Today, we're going to give a presentation on what are the features we appreciate most in either the civil law or the common law tradition. So, to begin with, we would like to first give a brief introduction about common law and civil law. The common law system is known for its efficiency and adaptability, and they rely on judicial precedent to ensure consistent and timely legal decisions. As for the civil law, it emphasizes legal certainty and predictability through codification, but changes typically require formal legislative amendments. So, in our presentation, we would like to provide a comprehensive comparison between two systems, and we personally prefer the common law system with its efficiency, flexibility, and adaptability. And we think that common law better serves the dynamic needs of the world, especially in the rapidly changing social and technological environments. So to begin with, we'd like to discuss the efficiency in lawmaking. For the common law, one of the core strengths of common law is its efficiency through judicial precedents. Judicial precedents means courts follow decisions made in previous similar cases to ensure consistent and predictable outcome. And the doctrine of stare decisis requires law courts to follow binding decisions of the higher courts. This promotes legal stability, fairness, and public confidence by maintaining coherent and uniform application of the law. So one of the example of the efficiency in common law is the legalization of same-sex marriage. In the case of Obergefell versus Hodges in 2015, the court relied on prior rulings that recognized marriage as a fundamental right and extended these principles to same-sex couples. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled nationwide recognition of same-sex marriage without waiting for new legislation. And this immediate effect highlights how judicial precedent enables swift legal change on social issues. As for the civil law is based on codified legal statutes to provide clear and systematic rules. The clear codification reduces disputes and provides certainty, and this is especially beneficial for businesses and governments. So, in the civil law tradition, legal changes require formal legislative processes, making the system slower to adapt than common law. So this makes the civil law relatively inefficient in lawmaking because the rigid codification requires formal legislative amendments for legal change. The legal process is often complex, involving multiple stages of drafting, consultation, and approval. For example, the acceptance of same-sex marriage in France and Germany took decades due to slow legislative processes. So, in comparison, common law uses judicial precedent, enabling efficient law development requiring new legislation for every change. As for civil law, it relies on comprehensive statutory codes, with legal changes dependent on lengthy legislative processes. So, we prefer the common law system for its superior efficiency in lawmaking, producing timely responses in dynamic legal environments.
So now I will explore how common law and civil law system adapt to technological change. First, the common law system strength lies in its flexibility. Unlike waiting for new statutes, common law employs judicial precedents to address emerging technological challenges. Consider Moody versus that Choi's case, when the U.S. Supreme Court faced government guidelines for AI-generated content. It did not sit idly awaiting new legislation. Instead, the court delved into the technical intricacy of AI model training, linking these details to the First Amendment's free speech principles. It ultimately ruled that government intervention constitute indirect speech suppression. This case precisely demonstrates how common law courts operate, applying broad constitutional principle to specific emerging tech scenarios like AI, thereby establishing clear regulatory boundaries. Yet common law is not without flaws. Its greatest shortcoming lies in unpredictability. Take AI-generated art as an example. The absence of direct legal precedents creates uncertainty in judicial ruling. If judges lack expertise in both law and technology, their decisions, such as determining copyright ownership of AI-created art, may even contradict each other, ultimately blurring legal rules. Now turning to civil law system, their primary advantage lies in certainty, achieved through codified statutes, clear written laws that explicitly state rules, consider the China maritime liability limitation from cases. After a ship collision, the court directly invoked the higher but not lower liability limit principle explicitly stipulate in the maritime code and apply it immediately. Such codified system function exceptionally well in traditional domains like maritime law. Business can precisely predict legal risks and liabilities, reducing dispute costs and commercial uncertainty. However, civil law systems also harbor a fatal flaw: their barrenness and sluggish adaptability. Take autonomous vehicles as an example. China's road traffic safety law remains grounded in the concept of driver through control, yet when fatal accidents occur involving human vehicle cooperative driving, where both driver and vehicle simultaneously control the steering wheel, existing laws are powerless, and the legislature often lack deep technological expertise when drafting regulations, making it difficult to define concepts like algorithmic defects in legal terms. Moreover, enacting new law is a lengthy process for outpaced by the speed of technological change. As an international hub for fintech and artificial intelligence, Hong Kong requires a legal framework capable of evolving alongside technological progress. This is precisely where the common law system excels. Its ability to adapt promptly, ensure law do not become obsolete, and hinder industrial development. Unlike the rigid one-size-fits-all rules of civil codes, the common law's case-based flexibility better balance the diverse interests of individuals from different cultural backgrounds, especially in complex cross-border technology disputes. In short, both systems have pros and cons, but for tech-driven regions like Hong Kong, common law flexibility makes it become the best choice.
Okay, let's talk about the common law versus civil law right protection. First, let's talk about the common law. Common law is faster judicial protection. In common law system, court can act very quickly to protect people' right. They can issue injunction or order that stop the government right away, always. And a good example is Murray versus Missouri. In this case, a U.S. court ordered deferral agents to shop a pursue social media platform to remove speech that is a protected under the free speech right. In this show, the main strength of a common law models is speech and a directly action. When a right seem to be a dangerous, the court can stop in immediately. The people do not have a way of a long government or legislative processing. Right can be a defined in a real time. Then let's talk about the civil law. Civil law is low, but is more structured. Civil law is a system work very different. They focus more on the change law through in a legislatures or the governments. They also often use the actress constitutional reviews in instance of a quick injection. The strength of this system is it can create a large systematic and a long-term large reform. The government can rewrite the structure of or reshape the ego framework to fix a deep problem. However, civil law reform a usual move slowly because of this. People might face right violation while waiting of a law to be a change. So civil law system is provide a clear and structured solution. They are not fast, but in the they are not fast when its urgency protection is needed. Then let's talk about the Hong Kong case. Hong Kong case in Hong Kong, the case Hong Kong SAR versus Xiu is a good example for a how common law court work. The court of a final appeal review law on flag decision and a consider the balance between a freedom of a permission and a proper public orders. That this show that common law court can examine both right and a structure carefully, but in this case also show the key a limit. The court cannot rewrite the law. It can be only interpret the law if the law needed to be changed. That job belong to be a natural nation.
Next, I will focus on one of the most important features of legal systems, predictability. Predictability allows businesses to calculate risks and societies to remain stable. I will compare how civil law and common law achieve predictability and explain why we value the resilience of common law most. Civil law relies on codification. Judges follow detailed statutes or treaty provisions, which provide clear rules and limit discretion. A strong illustration is the Host AG case decided by the European Court of Justice in 2001. The court examined UK tax rules that favor subsidiaries of resident parents' companies, but disadvantages those with non-resident parents. Based on easy treaty provisions on freedom of establishment, the court ruled this discrimination unlawful and required effective remedies. This shows civil law's strength, applying clear codified rules to deliver uniform and predictable outcomes across member states. In complex cross-border disputes, businesses can rely on treaty tests for clarity, something common law cannot easily provide. Common law achieves predictability through stare decisis. Courts must follow the binding reasoning of higher courts, ensuring consistency in daily practice. Yet, common law is not rigid. It provides stability in routine cases, but appellate courts can adopt doctrines when new problems arise. This combination of stability and adaptability is what I call resilient predictability. Our landmark example is Donald Hood and Stevenson in 1932. A woman in Scotland became ill after drinking ginger beer containing a snail. He had no contract with the manufacturer, so under existing rules, she could not sue. The House of Lords filled this gap by creating the neighbor principle. You must take reasonable care to avoid as likely to harm those directly affected by your conduct. This principle established a general duty of care in negligence and has been applied consistently in later cases. It shows how common law can innovate to fill gaps while still producing predictable outcomes. Civil law delivers predictability through codified rules, while common law delivers predictability through precedents and adaptability. Hong Kong is a mixed system, combining common law principles with the constitutional framework of the basic law. This balance of clarity and resilience is essential. Civil law certainty, as shown in the host AG case, demonstrates how codification secures uniform predictability across borders, yet its rigidity can slow reform. Common law, by contrast, achieves a balance. Precedence ensures efficiency, while judicial evolutions provides adaptability. From Donoghue and Stevenson case onward, the system shows that predictability and flexibility are complementary strengths. What seems like uncertainty is resilience, the law's ability to evolve while staying coherent. In today's complex world, this resilience makes common law an indispensable framework for justice. Thank you.